Tommy Chris here with another edition of TCTV. Welcome to our show. It's always a pleasure to have my friends watching. Our guest today is Pammy John. That's Pammy with a P of Pammy John Visuals. Welcome to the show, Pammy. Good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Thanks for coming in. You're currently living in Boardman.
Yes.
And you're originally from?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Well, that's interesting. How was it? What was it like growing up in Indianapolis?
Well, actually, I feel it was quite awesome. It's designed like Paris and Washington, D.C., with a circle and all the hub of the city right in the middle of the downtown area, and then spokes coming out from there. And it was wonderful. A lot of my family had businesses downtown, and then I think during the 70s, it started to have a decline, economic problems, and much like what has happened in Youngstown.
Yes.
And I draw a lot of parallels between the two cities because I care about both of them.
Now, you mentioned your family. They were a fairly successful family, right? In business, that is.
Yes. They were all worker bees, for sure. They different restaurants and advertising, letter service, Baskin Robbins, University Loft, different kinds of businesses.
Now, your father was originally from?
He was originally from St. Louis and migrated to Indianapolis in the 40s.
Okay.
He wanted to study to become, actually was going to become a teacher, but ended up having his own business in advertising print. And he was also a academician and a big influence in my life.
And he had a fairly successful career as an evangelist, is that right?
Yeah, later on, after he was in his 30s, he became an evangelist. And he worked on a lot of Billy Graham crusades, and he mentored quite a few people.
That's wonderful.
Was with CBMC, which is a Christian businessman organization. He'd go in and preach in the prisons and different places where he thought that he was needed.
Now, I imagine he had quite an influence on you as an individual.
Yeah, although my background's quite eclectic, I have an American Greek background, and my parents divorced, remarried, but two major influences that kind of came from my father. And my dad was someone that you just kind of wanted to look up to and follow. He was always caring about all his children and in their futures.
Sounds like a fairly dynamic background.
It was.
Now, let's jump back to Indianapolis again. As far as your art is concerned, did Indianapolis have a major effect on how you produced your art?
Well, I think probably because I was guided to always think about going to school. And then when I went to John Herron, which was John Herron Art Institute, at that time it was an independent university. By the time I graduated, it had become part of Indiana University, Purdue University.
Huey Pewey.
Huey Pewey. And it was a very small school, but yet at the same time it had a big impact on me because it was just like, the movie Fame. It had that same kind of vibe to it. It's where it all begins, and it was all about becoming very serious about whatever you decided that you were going to do with your skills.
So then environment actually